Straight to our next conversation. The Nigerian Labour Congress NLC is leaving nothing to chance to ensure that states and employers implement the national minimum wage and the consequential adjustments before the end of March. At a one-day national leadership retreat organized for the union's National Administrative Committee members on Wednesday in Abuja, the union emphasized that the national minimum wage had been signed into law, as such payments should have commenced nationwide. This is as the NLC is calling for a nationwide strike on the proposed new 50% tariff hike. Gentlemen, do you see this government yielding to the demands of the NLC on this one? Let me start with you.
This government, are you referring to states now or federal?
Both of
government.
them.
Okay, so I think it's a function of consequential adjustment being well addressed. It's something that they shouldn't mince words. There are templates that should be followed. Have they sat down? Have they concluded? Is it realistic? Because where I have issues is the issue of backdating this increase. You know, irrespective of when it is agreed on. I can remember that the Minister of Labour mentioned that by April last year, they will backdate whatever they are owed.
Okay.
So people may not see the time where this consequential adjustment is being concluded as a major bottleneck. They would rather say that do it appropriately, I will get my backlogs and I will be okay. I want to believe, I'm not sure, I'm not the federal government staff, I want to believe the federal government has been paying the current minimum wage. But how many states have actually complied is a function of whether you like delay it to March, delay it to April, you've got to pay the staff what was agreed on. Your federal allocation has increased, the things that you've been getting has increased, and I do not see any reason. I saw the governor trying to give excuse that, yes, the cost of building roads and all those things have also increased in building infrastructure. Excuse me, your recurrent expenditure it already has a name, it has a budget, it has how much should be given to the staff. So let them know two ways about it. It's just so sad that we are listening to the word strike again when we know what we went through in arriving at this. So consequential adjustment should not be a thing that will lead to strike. So I want to believe that whatever state governors are, we as journalists, we are ready to publish them. Let us put them on the front burner. Let's make more noise so that we don't have to go the way of strike in March.
Now, the NLC also talked about this issue of the tariff hike. They said it is unacceptable. So let's also look at some of the issues they raised. 50% telecoms tariff, 200% electricity tariff, increase in the price of petrol, and so on. NLC is saying that it is unacceptable and therefore they are fighting for Nigerians. Do you agree with them?
Yes, to a very large extent, I do agree, because these are very hard times. These are very hard times. You know, the way Labour feels now is, okay, you increase the minimum wage, but costs, costs of all these things you mentioned have also increased. You know. So the minimum wage, we are not even enjoying anything, because, okay, you increase minimum wage, that automatically should improve or increase our purchasing power. But costs have risen.
Wiping out disposable income everywhere.
However, some of those, the increase in some of the costs are inevitable. The telcos will argue now that, look, the cost of doing business is also we ourselves, we need to make a break even, make profit, and it is very difficult to do business maintaining the old tariff. Now, I do not have a serious problem with increasing the tariff, but I have a problem with 50% increase. That is where the problem is. There should be a gradual increase.
They wanted 100.
Yes, yes, they want
50%.
That will have been no.
They wanted 100.
See, you have to look at these things holistically. The same Nigerian who has to pay because of an increase in tariff of telco,
yes,
we also have to deal with what? Increase in fuel price. We also have to deal with so many soaring costs.
Which the telcos are also
I understand. What I'm trying to say is that there is a way we can have, a meeting point such that if you have an increase, it's not going to affect. I mean, it's not going to, it's like a radical increase now all around. So see some of these, the increases are not what we can avoid, honestly, because of the economic realities. Both on the part of the service or the service producer, or even those who give us goods.
Yes.
But the truth is that what are we doing to cushion the effects on the consumer? Because people will complain. So there has to be a meeting point. There has to be a situation where it is going to be maybe a win-win for everybody. If you understand what I'm saying. I was expecting, because I actually listened to one of the chief executives of one of the telcos. He said, okay, what we're going to do is a gradual, in fact, I was expecting a gradual increase. That was what he said. He actually said that. Now, there was going to be a gradual increase. Okay. So they wanted 100, now 50. Could have maybe 25, 20.
Well, NLC claims that 50% is unacceptable. Now, between the survival of the telecoms and also the survival of Nigerians, where do we strike the balance?
Because
if they don't increase, they will shut down.
Since Paul has put on the toga of Nigerians, feeling the pulse, feeling the pains, for the purpose of this conversation and different opinions, let me put on the toga of the telecoms now. Please do. Someone would tell me, a very good example somebody would say, the businessman would say, is that you want to fly. I mean, you want to get to Bayelsa, and you said, please, the cost of air flight must be affordable for me to get there. And the businessman is telling you, I cannot afford to pay, to buy the aviation fuel for me to take you to Bayelsa. So you have the option of either going through the bus by road, or you trek, which is unbelievable. What that means is that, how do I survive? I hear the voice of the telecom operators saying that as we speak, we are owing a lot of money. The price of diesel, they said they've not increased this tariff in the last 10 years. And these are data that you can't actually contradict. And they are saying that, hey, but the government forever has removed subsidy. So what we have been enjoying to sustain our business are no longer there. How do we survive? So the question is, and it looks very insensitive, the question is, excuse me, is either I don't make calls that I've been making before. Everybody has been cutting their costs in different areas, including how we even move. Even offices are saying reduce the number of days that you come to work. This is the current reality. Okay. I'm just trying to say that the telecoms operators are also saying that we are bleeding and we don't need to run out of business before we cry out.
All right, now for because they're fighting on two fronts now. Now, if you also look at this, the NLC, they want to go on a rally. They've given an ultimatum to the governors till March. Is this enough to force the hands of the governors of the affected states to do the needful?
Well, as for the governors, when it comes to minimum wage, I think the governors need to realize something. That this minimum wage is not just, it's no longer, it's not a suggestion. It has become, it's the law. Exactly. It's the law. It's not a proposal.
And when it takes effect, it matters.
It has become the law. So you cannot give, you can't keep giving.
All right. Paul, I'm so sorry, but I just have to interrupt you there. We need to pay some bills. Okay. But when we return, the conversation continues. Don't go anywhere. Still journalist hangout.
It's not going to pay the workers the minimum wage. That said, now whether this rally or the strike will work, we will see. It has to work. Now, I've always said something on this program that, see, NLC should stop concentrating on only the FG. You understand? NLC should go to states. I've always talked about it, that what is NLC doing with states?
But I think they are clear this time. They are going for the states.
Exactly. So they are doing, that's what I'm saying. They're already doing what I've always said.
Oh,
you know,
now I get
in
you.
those days, they used to concentrate so much on federal government. You know, I always say this, that, look, yes, everybody talks about federal. They don't pay much attention to the subnationals, as I said the last time I came. So I am happy now that NLC is facing the states that are defaulting. So I like to believe that no governor will be that hardened, you know, and no government, the governor will be so hardened, and then we'll be able to withstand the pressure for long. I hope that there will be no governor that will be threatening to sack workers this time, like one someone did. One of the governors, although he later, you know, he backed down later. I'm
glad you did.
So yeah, so I hope they won't be telling the workers, look, if you don't go back to work, you will not get this. You know, the usual threats when this kind of thing happens. So because this is already the governments that are breaking the law, those who are breaking the law are those that are not paying the minimum wage. It is not the workers that are going on strike. So I like to believe that this will touch.
You don't think the governors have enough excuse to say that?
No, I don't think of.
Looking at the amount they get from farm, you know, they don't have any excuse.
It doesn't always have to be the workers that will suffer for whatever the governors can do.
See, they don't. In clear terms, in the sense that apart from the federal allocation, which we have said without times without number, there are many ways the governor can increase their revenue. There are many ways they can increase their revenue. It will never work if it is all about handout, if it is all about federal allocation to pay salary.
Or reducing cost of
governance. Why do you
room.
even go into politics? Why do you go into governance? If you're not ready to make a difference, if you're not ready to, for God's sake, you're telling us that Nigeria is one of the poorest countries in the world. In fact, at the time, we were the poorest country in the world. And now you are saying that the lifestyle you want to live should be higher than a mayor in other places and governors in other countries. So it doesn't work. We have to do something differently.
The same people you find difficult to pay their minimum wage, you want them to pay a higher price for call tariff.
All right, gentlemen, we need to go on another break, okay? And when we return,